Welcome back to the show, everybody. We got a great one for you today. We got some more news on the Tetragon lawsuit against Ripple. I mean, the domino effect here has just been amazing, and we got to drill down into this a little bit because the real question here is Ripple OT sales have been halted, and what does this do to Ripple's valuation, knowing that they want to IPO the company? Let's roll that intro.
This is Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Subscribe for new content notifications. Now, here's Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show. You can follow me on Twitter at BackupBradley above at the top of the screen and everything that we're talking about here today. Let's go ahead and get a look at the new U.S. Treasurer, which will be Janet Yellen. And let's get a look at her thoughts back in 2014 about Bitcoin really quickly here. A couple things to cover. You're going to want to know this if you hold Bitcoin or are thinking about it.
So the Federal Reserve simply does not have authority to supervise or regulate Bitcoin in any way because there is no central issuer or network operator to regulate. It certainly would be appropriate, I think, for Congress to ask questions about what the right legal structure would be for virtual currencies that involve non-traditional players that aren't regulated by.
And I'm so sorry because our times, you know how our time runs here. If there's going to be a new American exchange for the Bitcoins, they're going to be using banks. If this exchange is using banks, you all will have.
If they use banks, but my understanding is that Bitcoin doesn't touch banks. They don't. It's not settled.
Why did other governments? Why did other countries believe they had to get involved?
Well, you could get involved if Congress wants to get involved and set up a supervisory regime.
Okay, so there's that back and forth. And granted, this was 2014, right? So let's keep an eye on where her opinion is on Bitcoin and other convertible virtual currencies. But let's hear this follow up here because this is from Ken Rogoff. And he is a huge skeptic on cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, thinking that they can continue to exist out here in any real sustainable way without regulation is very key because, listen, I mean, here domestically in the States, we're seeing a brand new administration ushered in, which means we're seeing a brand new sweep as far as all these appointees and the regulatory agencies. We need to be prepared for what we're going to see. And let's take a look at this now right here. This is Ken Rogoff, a world-renowned economist and has been cited to be placed at the Fed at some point too. So let's listen.
Do you link Bitcoin wholly into criminal activity? And do you consider the new price appreciation of Bitcoin to be speculative?
Well, I certainly think I agree that it's speculative. I've been a Bitcoin skeptic, and certainly the price has gone up, but there's sort of an ultimate question of what's the use. Is it just valuable because people think it's valuable? That is a bubble that would blow up. I can see Bitcoin being used in failed states. It's conceivable, it could have some use in a dystopian future. But I think the governments are not going to allow pseudonymous transactions on a big scale. They're just not going to allow it.
Bingo.
The regulation will come in. The government will win. It doesn't matter what the technology is.
Bingo.
And so I think, over the long run, if there's not a use, yes, the bubble will burst. I hope there's not such a valuable use, but I suppose it's a hedge against dystopia.
Would you advise Secretary Yellen at Treasury that the U.S. should be proactive in instituting that regulation which could collapse the price of cryptocurrency?
Well, they are. Yes. I mean, that's just true across the board. It needs to be regulated. Some of the perhaps stable coins will, make it through this. But I think, of course, every central bank's working on this. I'm in the G30. We did a report on this. So, I wouldn't say it so crudely as just to say, make the price go down. That's not the purpose. But, you need to have the transactions obey the same kinds of information regulations as everything else. So I think governments are on it. It's not being used that widely, and I suspect, although the Bitcoin lobbyists have been successful in getting it in some places, that won't last.
You know, this is just interesting to me because one of the things you heard there too is, will he recommend to Janet Yellen how he feels about these things? And the answer is yes, right? So this is who's got Janet Yellen's ear. The reason I'm showing this is because I believe between the lawsuit with Tether that we're seeing for $1.4 trillion, which is coming from the federal government, and I believe with the market regulator lawsuit from the SEC to Ripple, what we're seeing here, certainly not the end of how the market maturity and the regulatory clarity comes about, but I certainly believe this is clarity, and this is what clarity coming to us looks like. And it can look pretty damn scary, but this is what it looks like, and we do need it. And I do feel like, you know, we are about to get it. And one of the reasons I feel that way is, let's go ahead and move to this now, because this is also a little piece of news about a couple lawyers. There's been several lawyers here lately, obviously, because this is their wheelhouse. They see these lawsuits going around. You start drilling down into these things, and then of course people start to share their professional opinions on them, or to, you know, softly litigate the ideas and notions within these complaints. Now, looking here, this is actually the perspective of two lawyers who happen to feel like Ripple will lose the case, and in fact, strongly, they feel like they'll not only lose the case as Ripple the company, but they'll also lose it as individuals. They say. Now, they don't know the outcome. I don't know the outcome, and none of you know the outcome. So I just want to be clear that I think, in full disclosure, I think it's fair that we entertain some of the people's ideas that are not necessarily always in the favor that we see it. Again, I personally feel like XRP is a currency. That's how I personally feel, but that and 50 cents won't get you a cup of coffee. Again, I do see a path for a security designation that could work very much like a modern day bearer bond, that could operate in that form, but have the utility along with it because it's a digital product. And it could also have a price set and a fixed income investment instrument, because it would be treated like a bond. I also believe if you're really going to have money in this digital world, guess what else you have to have? A bond market. Every monetary system that has ever been sustainable had to have a bond market. I have been saying this for a very, very long time. That doesn't mean I'm right. It's just what I have understood about history and my research so far. Something needs to emerge as something that either is a bond market or very similar to a bond market, one or the other. I also believe this is why we're seeing so much work done with the Financial Stability Board connected to the G20 and all of the international agencies and regulatory agencies, whether it was the G30 President's Working Group or whether it was the G20, G7. What are some of the takeaways we've gotten out of that over the last several months, the last year and a half? They all are working on stable coins. And in fact, on the international level, they're working to highly develop the supervisory and regulatory oversight of global stable coins. For a second, if you just take, in fact, these particular lawsuits that I believe are very, very timely and extremely important to redefining and reshaping this crypto space in a lot of ways, probably like a lot of early people in this space would not want to see. I don't believe, and I agree with Ken Rogoff, that the governments of the world are never going to allow the pseudonymous anonymity to money to grow to a level to compete with dollars, government dollars. Yes, you can have assets via stablecoin, global stablecoin, a security designation, digital bond, be worth a lot of money. But I don't believe they're going to allow this entire crypto space to just simply grow until it outpaces government dollars and the use and importance of them. I don't believe that, because in the same respect, you're going to see in that process, if you allowed that to happen, you would see banks go away as well, right? So banks will go away brick and mortar, but they'll still exist and change to a more payment strength of services as payments and being a node on a network more so than brick and mortar. But I don't see them going away, just like I don't see governments going away. So I just wanted to share that there was a couple lawyers here that were on the Unchained podcast and shared their views, which were not positive of the XRP being an unregistered security. They side with the SEC and believe that that's exactly what they've been doing. They did note in that they felt like they were shocked that it was not a fraud case. I did get that part out of it too. But, there's a lot of people that have a lot of opinions about a lot of things, and I certainly have them as well. This I want to drill into right now, because this is of extreme importance right here. The Ripple versus Tetragon court case, temporary restraining order limiting XRP sales, ladies and gentlemen. We open this up. Let's take a look at it, because here it says, according to Q Law 360, Delaware Court of Chancery has issued a preliminary restraining order against Ripple Labs. As you know, Tetragon is suing Ripple. They are investors in Ripple. They were they were the largest contributor to the Series C fundraising round, which held $175 million. And they had a clause in their contract that said, should XRP be classified as a security, they would be able to recoup their funds. Now, XRP has not been classified as a security. However, it is being alleged by the SEC. So Tetragon has made those moves to protect itself and their investment to seek getting it back. And in doing so, they have moved in that lawsuit to get a judge to actually stop the halting and of OTC sales. So let's go through this just very quickly here. XRP community member Ratha Conman, shout out to Ratha Conman, reported first on Twitter. Vice Chancellor said she viewed Tetragon's request to complete ban of XRP purchases as potentially heavy-handed. Instead, the court ordered the Ripple to maintain a net zero position in sales and purchases of XRP rather than halting acquisitions outright. The argument seems to be that Ripple is in a place to repay any stock value losses, so hold on until the SEC ruling. Now, if I go down here and click on this link right here, I can really go to the next page here and we talk about this, because this goes into it and where I want to be right here. Listen to this. As CNF reported, the first pretrial date for the SEC and Ripple case is set on February 22nd, according to Abra CEO Bill, I guess it's Barheit. It is likely that the court battle with the SEC will end in a settlement because of mistakes made by both sides. In particular, the SEC's prolonged hesitation and inaction argue against the SEC winning in court. They should have settled this 6 years ago. I mean, that's really well said right there. I mean, it really is. And that is where we are on this day. There's no question about it. This is officially a mess, right? And I certainly feel like it's all going to get sorted out. But nevertheless, it is a mess. And now, look, you have the SEC suing Ripple. You have investors with Ripple suing them. You have retail investors suing the SEC. You have retail investors suing Coinbase for selling XRP. It is a full-fledged mess. It's official. Bing, crown it, a mess. But you know what? I certainly believe that this will get sorted out, and I certainly believe that the bigger the mess, the sooner it'll get sorted out. One thing's for sure is that I think we need to really pay attention, because we're coming close to the next month's drop of the escrow. We need to pay attention. that escrow that comes out, let's see if all of it goes on a loan on the back end or a new contract on the back end of the escrow, and none of it is actually doled out, because it appears here from the Tetragon lawsuit that OTC sales have been halted. And imagine that for a second. What does that do to the valuation of Ripple, the company? $10 billion company told that they can't sell XRP. What's that do? I mean, this is a company looking to IPO, right? They said they're certainly looking to IPO at some point. So what in the world does that do to that valuation? It absolutely has to decimate that valuation. And again, I start to come back to the idea here, will Ripple be able to continue to remain as the steward of the escrow each month after this lawsuit is settled? Will a part of this settlement, be it a security or not, be the relinquishing of the escrow to, let's say, the Treasury? Why do you say the Treasury? Oh, well, I don't know, because there was at least 3 people that worked there at the Treasury, the U.S. Treasury, at Ripple. And they left the Treasury to go work there. So I certainly believe they understand that this gets worked out, and I feel like it will too, however it goes. But maybe, if there is a security designation, maybe it ends up working out for the best for all of us, as long as it doesn't harm the intended use of the asset, and as long as it doesn't harm us as retail holders of the asset, and as long as we can continue to participate in this market should we want to. Those are the real questions I think we really need to be looking forward thinking about. That's going to do it for me. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe, leave a comment below, share with somebody you know, and make sure you hit that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. And by the way, I wanted to tell everybody about this. Where is this right here? Yeah. Mickey B. Fresh, everybody, has got his YouTube channel up and it's running. And I don't know if I've ever been so happy for somebody and excited for somebody in my life. This is really a great moment. I'm so very happy for you, Mickey. And it is long overdue. And I know that you're going to do a great job with your channel. And I'm very excited for it. And I leave with this note right here. There are 3 things that cannot hide for very long. It's the moon, the sun, and the truth. And not too long from now, I think as far as crypto and certainly Ripple, whether it's a security or not, the truth is about to come out.